I saw a fun one over the weekend. It's The Protégé with Michael Keaton, Samuel Jackson, and Maggie Q. It's kind of like an action thriller assassin type film, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. It's nice to see Michael Keaton kind of get back in the saddle when it comes to action related films. He's supposed to be reprising his role as Batman in the upcoming Flash film, and I'm looking forward to that. And seeing him in this film is kind of showing you, okay, even though he's almost 70, he still has, his spunk. He still can, throw drop kicks and really, hammer it down as an action star. Granted, it's probably a lot of stuntmen, but there are a few areas where you could tell, like, okay, it's definitely him in some way, shape, or form. And again, he's pushing 70, so seeing him in that light is just fantastic, and it gives me a lot of hope for a future of him doing it more often. And then, of course, you have Samuel Jackson, who comes along, and it's basically, Samuel Jackson. Think about him in any movie and what you're expecting, and it's exactly what you're going to get, and he's great in it. He's just Samuel Jackson. Now, what this really brings to light is the actress Maggie Q, who's kind of the main star and the main assassin, and essentially what the story is that she is partners with Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson gets murdered, so Maggie Q goes out to try to find her killer. His killer, I should say. And it's really nice to see Maggie Q get a little bit more. I've seen her in a couple of things. She's been in the business for at least the last 20 years. What a lot of people might know her from might be something as early as the Divergent series, or even as late as, I know she was on the CW in a show called Nikita for a couple of years. So she knows, she has her action credentials, and it's just nice to see her do more of that, especially as, a star in that sense, being that this would be a starring role for her. I think she's a tremendous actress, and I think she's a tremendous action star too. And I would love to see her do more, and I hope this does kind of lead into that, because it's not like the greatest action movie of the year. I still hold the film that came out back in February, Nobody, up to that light. So you have to kind of surpass Nobody. And this doesn't necessarily surpass Nobody, but it is a good film for, being that it's not the people that you're 100% expecting. Like I said, Samuel Jackson, he whether he does comedy, action, or the two together, he's great in anything that he touches. But seeing like Michael Keaton and Maggie Q in the kind of main limelight of a film like this, it's nice to see that. It's nice to put, a little bit of a different face on these stars. It can't all be, the actors that they keep trying to shove down our throats. We need new stars. Or at least, new areas and new stars to have opportunities like that. And that's why Nobody is right there, even 6 or 8 months later since its release. It's up there as this year's top action film for me. And it's going to be until something surpasses it. And I don't think anything has. Even a Marvel film hasn't surpassed what Nobody gave me. Because Nobody gave me, that John Wick feel. But it was even better because it was friggin' Bob Odenkirk. That's the thing that made that film great. You could have done that film, and it probably would have been a good film with any other actor, but the fact that you did that film with Bob Odenkirk is what made that made that film stand out. And the fact that you did this film with Maggie Q and Michael Keaton makes this film stand out. So it's definitely got my second pick, and it's just fun. It's a very fun action film, and it's one of those films that you can kind of sit with and kind of just... I don't want to say get lost in, this isn't this mind melting, story. It's very basic. It's about, assassins, and, there's a lot of money that gets tossed around, and it's about deception and, following the trail and whatnot. It's a very common action movie about assassins. But it's just fun because it's just people that we don't see. It's people that we don't see in these roles often. And I think that should shine some light on it in and of itself. And I hope more people do see it. I hope it does get really good ratings and does really well in the box office. It's only been out for about a week or two now. And I was super excited to finally get down and sit with it. And it's just fun. You know what I mean? I don't really have too many negative things to say about it, except, maybe the ending could have been a little bit better, but, sometimes the endings for films like this, it's not a matter that it sucks or it doesn't give you any clarity. It's just very abrupt. So that's probably the only real drawback I have, is that ending. But there are great moments. It is filled with a lot of really fun, sequences. Like, there's a sequence where she's being chased down a hall, and I swear, I looked at my wife when it happened, and I told her, I said, I can't believe how simple that scene was, but I've never seen it done before. So what it is she's being chased in, like, this big, business building. And she runs around a corner, and she's got a good, 15 feet lead over the people that are chasing her. She runs around the corner, runs to, like, the end where there's stairs, doesn't run down the stairs, but turns around and points the gun in the direction that she just came from, being the direction that she's being chased. And as the two guys with machine guns turn the corner, she shoots them both twice. Just bam, bam, chest, head, bam, bam, chest, head. And I'm like, holy shit, how simple is that? Like, how come nobody else that's ever been chased in a movie that's holding the gun, holding a gun at least, doesn't just stop and turn around? Like, that's the thing. The people who are chasing you, maybe they would expect you to be there, but maybe they wouldn't, because all they know is running at that point in time. And to have that sense of realism where it's just, okay, I'm just running. I can't run and aim, so I'm just running until I see them, like, stop, or if I'm able to get my footing enough that I can aim with enough accuracy. And the split second it takes to turn a corner, you don't get that sort of time. And she's already got full aim. She's got a full stance. She's got it pointed right in the direction that she knows they're going to be coming from. All she has to do is adjust for there being two targets. And then bam, 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 bam. It's a move. It's a quick shovel. We do it in video games all the time. How often in a first-person shooter are you aiming at one NPC? Bam, bam. Then the next one. Bam, bam. It's so simple, but the fact that I feel like I had never seen that done in a action film before was kind of just one of those things that added, the enjoyment of this movie for me. And I just found it to be a really good time. And I would highly recommend it to anybody who's into, action in that sense. This isn't going to be a film that wins an Oscar, but it doesn't have to be a film that wins an Oscar for it to be enjoyable and for it to be worth watching. And I highly recommend it. I think it's totally worth watching. I'll probably watch it a couple of dozen more times when it comes out on some sort of streaming service or when I'm able to get my hands on it. And it's totally worth it. So I know it has mixed reviews, but it's definitely one of those movies that you have to give your own kind of perspective to. It's definitely a movie that you have to give it a chance in order to really tell if the good reviews were right or if the bad reviews were right. So I do suggest watching it. If you take my recommendation at all, then I suggest it for you, whoever you are listening. I thought it was so much fun.